Good morning, friends. Abhishek, please take the charge.
Yes. Good morning, friends. Welcome once again this lockdown period. So today we are having a different kind of session that is related to our regular bread and butter work, that is Microsoft Excel. That is very important for all the professional because in our PC the most usable application or function we are using is only MS Excel. So today it's our privilege to have CA Kedar Pandey from Aurangabad to guide us on this MS Office Excel program. And also we are having CA TC Bafna sir. Now I request CA Viraksha to just give a brief introduction of CA Kedar Pandey.
Yeah, sure. It's my proud privilege to introduce CA Kedar Pandey ji. He is a practicing chartered accountant, partner in firm WKD and associate, having branches in Aurangabad and Pune. Sir has worked in finance manager as a corporate houses like Z Group, Crompton Graves, and Andrew Grave Group. Knows the intricacy of the audit in corporate world. 12 plus years of teaching experience in Mumbai and Aurangabad. There is also a faculty to advanced ITT course conducted by ICC for CA students. There is profession in teaching costing, FM, accounts at CA Foundation and Inter level. Sir has taught till now more than 3,000 students. Known for his conceptual teaching and unique method of coaching. Nominated member for the Ethical Standard Board Committee of WRC of ICI for the year 2020-21. Sir is also running a YouTube channel, Tutirco, taking Excel coaching as a theme for the benefit of public at large. So all members, all participants are requested to subscribe that channel. I am once again repeating that Tutorico. It is meant for Excel. So you will learn a lot from there. With this brief introduction, we would hand over charge. Would like to request Bafna ji to say a few words before we start the session of this 3-day series.
I think Bafna ji is saying voice is not coming.
Okay.
So any member, if you are not getting our voice, just mention in comment box. Okay. Can you please repeat the channel name? Okay. So people are getting the voice, no issue. It's audible. Okay. Virat, can you repeat the search channel name? YouTube channel name?
TOTORICO.
Okay. So
it is Tutorico.
Tutorico.
You can search on Google. It is Tutor ICO. Tutorico.
Tutorico. So this is Tutorico. So you can join on YouTube. Now I request Bafna sir. I think he is not able to audible.
We will take him in the last. Like
Okay.
We request Kedar sir to take the charge and start the session.
Bafna
Okay.
sir. Okay.
All right. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible.
Okay.
Start, please.
Yeah. All right. Good morning, friends. I welcome you all to the 3-day session of Excel. इस सेशन में आप लोग बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें देखेंगे जो मे बी आपको पता रहेगी और आप लोग इस तरीके से भी इसको किया जा सकता है. ये पॉसिबल है कि इस तरीके से भी आप इसको किया जा सकता है, ये आपने कभी देखा नहीं होगा. आई एम श्योर यू विल एंजॉय. लेट्स स्टार्ट द सेशन. पहला हम लोगों का जो ट्रिक है या पहला जो फंक्शन हम लोग देखने वाले हैं, इट इज नेम्स मैनेजर। नाउ लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड नेम्स मैनेजर होता क्या है या नेम्स क्या होते हैं। एक कोई भी सेल में अगर आप जाते हो तो उसका एक सेल एड्रेस होता है, जैसे कि B11, राइट, या फिर इस सेल में जाते हो तो H11 एंड सो ऑन। ये जो सेक्शन यहाँ पर दिख रहा है दिस कॉल्ड एज फॉर्मूला बार, और उसका ये फर्स्ट पार्ट जो होता है इसको बोला जाता है नेम बॉक्स। अगर आप उस पे कर्सर लेके जाएंगे तो आपको दिखेगा भी, ठीक है। यहाँ पर ये जो एड्रेस दिखता है इट इज कॉल्ड एज नेम। नेम इज नथिंग बट द टाइटल ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर सेल। अब ये हम लोग हमारे सहूलियत के हिसाब से चेंज कर सकते हैं एंड हम लोग इसमें से काफी सारे फॉर्मूलाज भी बना सकते हैं। लेकिन ये जो नेम्स मैनेजर है इसके कुछ रूल्स हैं विच यू नीड टू फॉलो। अब देखते हैं कि क्या है नेम, क्या होता है। मैंने बताया आपको देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ नेम्स, एक डिफाइंड नेम जो हम लोग खुद डिफाइन करते हैं, और एक टेबल्स। एक्सेल में जो टेबल्स है, एक्सेल में जो टेबल्स है उसको जो नाम आता है दैट इज टेबल 1 एंड टेबल 2। आप लोग जो नाम दे सकते हो, एक सेल को भी दिया जा सकता है या एक रेंज को भी। जैसे मैंने ये 4 सेल्स सिलेक्ट किए हैं, इनको भी मैं अलग से नाम दे सकता हूं। दैट इज कलेक्टिवली दीज 4 cells will be collectively known by that name. So these are the basics. इसमें सिंटैक्स रूल्स है, जब आप यहाँ पर नाम दे रहे हो कुछ रूल्स आपको फॉलो करने हैं। अब वो रूल्स क्या है? फर्स्ट कैरेक्टर मस्ट बी अ लेटर, एन अंडरस्कोर कैरेक्टर और अ बैकस्लैश, ठीक है। तो यहाँ पर जब मैं नाम दूंगा या कोई और नेम डिफाइन करूंगा, एट दैट टाइम मुझे याद रखना है कि it should be a letter. It cannot start with numeric. Okay, it cannot start with a number. Remaining characters उसके बाद में जो है can be name, remaining characters in the name can be letters, numbers, periods और underscore. ये कुछ भी हो सकता है। अब देखते हैं, let's say हम बहुत बार क्या होता है, एक ही चीज, let's say पैन, मैं यहाँ पर पैन नंबर डालता हूं। Okay, this PAN I am required to use in n number of sheets. Let's say I am working in around 50 sheets है और उसमें मैं काम कर रहा हूं। अब ये जो पैन है हर जगह मुझे डालना पड़ रहा है। एक तरीका है, इसको कॉपी कर लो और हर जगह जहां जहां ये है पेस्ट कर दो, ठीक है, बट दैट इज अ मैनुअल सॉल्यूशन टू दिस। अब अगर यही फाइल किसी और क्लाइंट के लिए हम लोगों को यूज करनी पड़ी तो हर बार 50 जगह अगर मैंने पैन डाला है तो 50 जगह मुझे जाके चेंज करना पड़ेगा। तो सॉल्यूशन क्या है? What we can do is we can rename this cell. अब ये सेल को रीनेम कैसे करें? Go to this name box और वहां पर आप उसको नाम दे दीजिए। Let's say this is pan, ठीक है। अब आप नॉर्मल वे ऑफ डूइंग इट इज जाके आप उसको लिंक कर दो। तो क्या होगा, आप यहाँ पर जैसे ही कुछ चेंजेस करोगे वहां पर वो चेंजेस रिफ्लेक्ट होने लग जाएंगे। लेकिन याद है हम लोगों ने इस सेल को डिफाइन किया है एज पैन। जब आप उस सेल पे जाओगे तो यहाँ पर नेम बॉक्स में आपको उस सेल का एड्रेस नहीं दिखेगा, उसका नाम जो दिया है हम लोगों ने दिखेगा। अब अगर मैं सबसे लास्ट वाली शीट में जाऊं, ओके, और लेट्स से मुझे यहाँ पर वो लिंक करना है, तो वन वे इज इक्वल टू प्रेस कीजिए, यहाँ पर फर्स्ट शीट में जाइए और आप वहां पर ये सिलेक्ट करके डेटा आपका इधर आ जाएगा। अनदर वे, सिंस हम लोगों ने पैन ऑलरेडी वहां पर डिफाइन किया है, वी कैन डायरेक्टली टाइप पैन हियर। और अब मैं देखिए 31st शीट में हूं, आई एम नॉट एट ऑल रिक्वायर्ड टू गो टू द फर्स्ट शीट। Some people are complaining voice is breaking. Is it audible now? विराग जी आपको आवाज आ रही है?
यहाँ आ रही है,
हाँ
मुझे
जी,
तो आ रही
आपकी
है,
आवाज आ रही, क्लियर है, आप कंटिन्यू करो।
आ रही है, आ रही है।
ओके ओके। तो इस तरह से हम लोग नेम बॉक्स या नेम्स मैनेजर यूज कर सकते हैं टू गिव द रेफरेंस ऑफ दैट डेटा इन एनी शीट। ओके,
सुन
ये
रहा
हो
हूँ
गया नेम बॉक्स का बेसिक्स। अब अगर ये पैन मुझे 50 जगह यूज करना है तो 50 बार मुझे फर्स्ट शीट में आने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। वहीं पर डायरेक्टली मैं इज इक्वल टू पैन टाइप करूंगा, इधर जैसे फॉर्मूलाज आते हैं अपने वैसे यहाँ पर नेम बॉक्स भी, नेम जो है वो भी आने लगेगा एंड वी कैन डायरेक्टली क्लिक एंटर। अभी फिलहाल वहां पर डेटा नहीं है, इसके लिए वो नहीं आ रहा है। तो अगर मैं यहाँ पर केदार डाल दूं तो देखिए यहाँ पर रिफ्लेक्ट होने लग जाएगा, इट इज इक्वल टू पैन। सो दिस इज हाउ नेम्स मैनेजर वर्क। किसी सेल रेफरेंस को आप नाम चेंज उसका कर सकते हैं। चलिए अब हम लोग आगे बढ़ते हैं कि नेम्स मैनेजर नेम्स मैनेजर हम लोग कैसे यूज कर पाए। Okay, I'll surely go ahead with English. No problem. Ravi Kumar ji. All right, we'll move ahead. Now see, we can use names manager to create formula in quick way. Normally, for doing, let's say these are the examples: average, sum, count, and max, minimum. This is the range. These are random, some random numbers. The normal way of doing average is average, and I'll select the range. Okay, so this gives me the answer 51.65. If I want to go ahead with sum, again I'll have to select the range. If I have to go ahead with count, every time I need to select that range. If it happens in such a way that one cell or a names manager can be used, names manager can be used to change the cell reference or change a cell range. You can give name to a range of cells also, or you can give name to a cell, single cell as well. I hope Mr. Sheikh you have been clarified. Okay, so if I want to go ahead with max formula, again I'll have to select a range. Every time I'm required to select that range. So here in this case 5 times I have selected this range. Surely now we'll see how we can use the names manager to quickly go ahead with our formulas. First we need to give name to this range. So what we'll do, we'll select this range, we go to name box. This is one way of giving name to a range. We go to name box, I'll give name, let's say AA. Okay, now whenever you select this range, the name will be shown here. If you select a single formula or single cell, there is no formula for names manager. You can directly say, for example, this is the cell and you want to give it as pan1. Okay, my mistake. There's another rule. Okay, one more rule which I forgot to tell you. You cannot give name to a cell which refers to another cell. So say for example this D10, you cannot give name to this cell as D11 because it will refer to another cell. Okay, so you need to give the name, unique name, let's say AAA. So this is how, if you refer to AAA, it will refer to this cell. It will refer to this cell. If you go ahead with AA, it will refer to this range. All right. Now, since we have already defined, the name of this range, one good question, Meghal Shah, I think, yeah. Can we do it for Vlookup? Yes, we can surely do it for Vlookup. Okay. Let's say again average. Now, since we have given name to this range, we are not at all required to again go and select it. We can directly type AA and it will be there. Here also, in case of sum, we are not at all required to go and select that range. We can directly type the cell range name. This is minimum formula. So this is how we can quickly create formulas with the help of name. One question is there, how to remember the names that we give to different cells? There is no need to remember any names given to any cell. You can use it in formulas with the help of paste command. You can press F3 and you can go ahead with your formula. Let's say I again type F3. Now you forgot how to remove names. I'll definitely come to it. Now say for example you forgot the name given to a particular cell or range. What you can do is you can type in your formula and press F3. So whatever the names given you have given, it will be reflected here. We have given 3 names in this exercise: AA, AAA and PAN. Okay, so you can select it and go ahead. Okay, now there is one more way. Apart from name box, there is one more way to define names. You go to formula tab. There you find this group, define names. There is a button called as names manager. Whatever names you have defined, it will be there. One question was there, how to delete any name range or name given.
When you are registered,
So you can select the name and
you will get the mail
click on,
in 2 minutes.
you can select the name and click on delete. Now these are the 3 ranges or 3 names we have already defined. From here also you can define a new name. You can click new. This small dialog box will open. You need to define your name. Comment if you want to give any comment also. And here you need to define what it refers to. So say for example, Kedar name refers to this cell range. So it will be there. So here it is defined as Kedar. Here is a button available for deleting the names. You can select the name and delete it. Okay, so this is how you can use this names manager in quick formula creations. So you need not again and again go to and select the range, but you need to make sure you are defining names for the range which you are required to use again and again. You're not at all required to define a name for which you are going to use it one time only. All right, let's move to the next session or next section. We'll come to this later on, navigation part, how to navigate between the sheets. All right, this is one of my favorite use of wildcard. Now see, sometimes what happens is, these are the roll number and names given. They keep on changing since we have used one formula called as random between. There's a formula. Later on, I'll go ahead with this, or later on I'll teach you this formula as well. So they keep on changing. The combination created is roll number and name of the student. Roll number is between 1000 to 9000. Okay, now sometimes what happens, we are required to search. There are around 500 records, 500 in numbers. Okay, you can see the count. So from these 500 names or 500 record, you are required to search that how many students are there named as Peter. Now see, there will be a difficulty in using Vlookup. Why? Because Vlookup will search in entirety. Okay, for this purpose, you can use wildcards. Now, what are wildcards? Wildcard refers to the asterisk mark and wildcard refers to the question mark. These two wildcards have different usage. We'll surely see this and we'll surely use both the wildcards. Okay, now I want to have a count. There are how many students named as Peter? If I use count formula, okay, we'll use COUNTIF. COUNTIF is asking about range. So before going ahead with selecting this, what we'll do, we will name this range. Now, one question was there, how to give is the session recorded? One question is there. One question is there, can we combine
Yes,
two names
session
in
is.
single name? So you mean to say two columns? Yes, we can definitely combine these two columns in a single name. Okay, first we give name to this range. Let's say this is student. Okay, so this is one question was there, how to give name to a range. You can go ahead with this name box, okay, and give name to any cell as well as any range. So if I'm here and I go and select student, so it will refer to this range. Okay, now I want to count how many students named as Peter. The data is roll number, the first name and the last name. This is how data has been arranged. Now let's say, how can we use wildcard with names? I'll use COUNTIF formula. Student, see, this refers to, if you forgot whatever name you have given, you can always press F3. Okay, so I press comma, and now it is asking for criteria. If I directly select this and press enter, it will show us 0. Why? Because COUNTIF formula is not able to search Peter in this. Here it is Peter Joseph. Had it been only Peter, it would have shown us 1. Now how to search this? In this case, we can use the asterisk mark, double inverted comma, ampersand. Ampersand is used to join text, double inverted comma, close. Now see what this formula will do. Now see what this formula will do. It will ignore whatever there in prefix, and it will also ignore whatever there in suffix. It will only search Peter, and if Peter name is there, it will give us the count. Press enter. See, there are 58 students named as Peter. Let's say we search for Larry. There are 73 names, 73 students named as Larry. So the wildcard is used to ignore. Wildcard is used to ignore the prefix and suffix. If we use wildcard as a prefix, then in that case it will ignore whatever there in prefix. Okay. One question is there, does the name work between two different workbooks? No. You cannot refer name defined in one workbook and use it in another workbook. It is not possible. At present, it is not possible. Maybe future developments, if in Excel future developments happens and it comes that, so then in that case it will be possible. But currently, it's not possible to define name in. Currently, it's not possible to define name in one workbook and refer it in another workbook. Okay, so this is how you can use wildcards. There is one question, can we use it in SUMIF? Yes, definitely we can use it in SUMIF. The spacing also ignored. Yes, spacing is also ignored by using this wildcard. Ampersand is used to join two texts. Meghal Shah, I hope your question is answered. Okay. This is one thing where if we use asterisk mark as the wildcard, it ignores the entire thing, whatever the characters are there. What if we are required to ignore only the specified or counted characters? Let's say in this question, in this section, we need to find student named as John, but the second condition is his roll number between 8,000 to 9,000. So now see this COUNTIF, the same formula is there. The range is also same. We already defined it. So currently we can use student, and the criteria which we are required to give is start with 8. Why 8? Because the roll number starts with 8,000 or 8. Then we have used ampersand to join two texts, and then double inverted comma, we have given 4 question marks. Now if we use 1 question mark, it will ignore 1 character. If we use 2 question marks, we'll ignore 2 characters. Why we have used 4? Because after 8,000 there are 4 characters, 7, 9, 0 and space. This is why we have used 4 characters, 4 question marks. Again ampersand T9, search for John. Again ampersand and ignore whatever there is in suffix. Okay, so this is how we can use the wildcard characters. I hope everyone is clear about the asterisk mark and the question mark. What was the use of question mark? Question mark ignores, these are two wildcards we normally use. One asterisk mark ignores whatever there in entirety, and question mark ignores one character. Question mark ignores one character. There is a question, can we use asterisk 4 times? Even if you use one time, it will ignore entire key in suffix or prefix. You are not required to use asterisk 4 times. If you want to ignore specified characters like 3 or 4 characters, you use question mark. One question, what if the roll number has to be taken 6,000 to 9,000? If it is 6,000 to 9,000, then in that case, you need to begin your formula with 6. If it is 6,000 to 9,000, you need to change your formula and increase the COUNTIF. You need to add plus mark and again repeat this formula with 7 and so on. So you need to write the COUNTIF formula 3 times. All right. There are 2-3 questions, 6,000 to 9,000 or 5,000 to 7,000. In that case, it can, if you go ahead with this formula, if you go ahead with 6 here and then start the formula, it will count only for 6,000 numbers. So you need to again add 7,000 and 8,000 as well. Okay, let's move ahead. Creating names from the table range. Okay, now sometimes what happens is we have a table and we are required to create names from this table. So every time we cannot go and give names to every range. And see, we are required to give name this range as Jan, this range as Feb, this range as March, this range as April, and so on. At the same time, we're also required to give name to these ranges as well: Toyota, Jaguar, Fiat, and so on. In this case, the names manager has another term or another command called as create from selection. The shortcut is Control Shift F3. Create from selection. This dialog box will appear. It asks you about creating names for the values in top rows and left columns. Okay, so it will take these names or these month name as the names and these producers or manufacturers as row names. If you click OK, the names are defined. You can see the names here: April, Feb, Fiat, Hyundai, Jaguar. And if you click anyone, it refers to this range. If you click Jan, it refers to this name, this range. If you click on April, it refers to this range. This is how you can create many names from a single command or the entire table. Okay, I'll repeat again. You select this table go to the formula tab, define names group, create from selection. It will ask you to from where you need to create rows, create names, top row and left column. So it will create names from these two sections, top row and left column. So this is how you can create names from different, or create name from a table, and you can use it in formula as well. So if I want to take the total of fiat, I can directly type fiat. I need not go and select that range. If I want to have here some total of my Jan cell, you can directly go ahead with that. One question is there, if there is an addition in the range, it will directly consider it if there is an addition, but the addition should be in between that range. Okay, so this is how you can create names from a given table or range. Can you repeat what purpose it will use? You can use these names in any formula and create the formulas very quickly. You need not every time go and select that range. All right, this is one of my favorite. You can define, we'll go slow for this because this will help you to define your own formulas using the names. Now, how to do it? Now, how to do it? Let's say we create a simple formula called as percentages. So let's say this is the data. We take 87 and 150. So normally, if we are required to calculate percentages, this is how we go ahead, right? And we give percentage formula. Okay, so this is 58%. Are names case sensitive? No, they are not case sensitive. See here, you can type sum. We have already defined a name as AA in small column or small. It will directly take it. It's not case sensitive. Okay, so now how to define our own formula? We'll try for simple formula here first. Let's say this is my data and I want to calculate the percentage. I want to calculate the percentage. Viraj sir, there are questions coming whether this is recorded or not.
Yes, yes.
Can you please clarify?
This is recorded.
Okay.
Yeah, this is recorded. Hello. This is recorded.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay. Now we will define our own formulas using the names manager. Now, how to define our own formulas? Many times what happens is we are required to use a simple formula again and again, and we end up typing that formula every time. But while defining your own formulas, there is one care you need to take. Let's see. go to Formula tab, define name. We give it as we give name as %. Okay, and this refers to D5. You need to press F4. Okay, so the dollar mark will be removed, divided by D6. Again, press F4, so the dollar mark will be removed. Okay. All right. Now is equal to, sorry, %, tab press कीजिए, and this is how you can go ahead with your formula. All right. Now what we have done is, like this, we have defined this formula, or we have put this formula in name box. Okay. Now, one care which I was saying about you need to do is, now while defining formulas, if I say %, it refers to these two cells, right? There is a gap of one row. When we define the formula, names manager can be used in any formula, whether it is sum if, Vlookup, Xlookup, anything. Okay, can you please repeat the percentage done for 67 divided by 200? All right, we have defined the formula. We'll again repeat the formula process. Okay, now here we again use %. See, it changes and it will give you your own formula. Every time you need not type the same thing. This is how you can define your own formula. Now let's say again I define something else. We'll surely practice this again. Okay. Many a times what happens is we're required to repeat the same formula again and again. Currently the formula is very small, so in no time we can repeat the formula. But sometimes we're required to let's say calculate the taxes, and we're required to use the same formula again and again. In that case, you can define your own formula. Now let's say we define another formula. This is my income. Let's say this is my income, 5 lakh rupees, and we're required to calculate the tax on this. Now let's say this, for the time being, we take it as in a simple manner, this multiplied by 30%. So every time we are required to put this formula, and we are required to use many a times this formula. What we can do is we can define this formula, we can use this formula, or we can define this our own as own formula using names manager. Now, how to do that? First, delete this, go to the formula tab, click on define names. Let's say we give it the name as tax 1. Delete this. It refers to this cell. Press F4 to remove. Why we are removing the dollar mark? Because if you do not remove these dollar marks, the formula won't be usable and it will again refer to the same cell multiplied by 30%. Click OK. All right, we can define the tax percentages. Certain characters we cannot use in name. All right, tax. Now we can define this formula, tax 1. Delete this. This refers to this. Press F4 multiplied by this percentage. Again press F4. Click OK. Okay, there is a syntax error. All right, this is another way of defining your own formulas. All right, so let's say this is my income. It refers to 7 lakh and the tax rate is, let's say, 20%. All right, then in that case we can directly go ahead with tax and it will calculate. For some reason the characters which we were using in that defined name formula, it was not allowing us to do. So what you can do is you can directly write your own formula here, whatever you are doing, and you can copy paste that in defined names formula. All right, this is how you can define your own formula. Names with absolute and relative references. We'll come back to this later on. We'll move ahead with dynamic ranges using names. There are many questions coming that whether these videos are getting recorded. Yes, these videos are getting recorded and will be available to you all. So we go to dynamic ranges. Now sometimes what happens is when we define names, okay, and let's say we use data validation technique. Now what is data validation? Data validation is something Dropbox is available.
Kya bhai?
Haan sir.
So just to announce all the participation, this video is recorded and it will available by today EOD. So don't worry about that. And we'll cover all the questions answer at the end of session. So sir will complete the entire session. Okay. And this is 3-day session. We will provide 3 days video to all of you. Don't worry. Thank you. Sir, please continue.
Okay. Can we get the Excel working file? Yes, it is available in the handout section. And you can practice along with us. Okay. Now, if we, sometimes what happens is there is a range. Let's say this is the range for 4 students, okay, and there are total marks and the results. Now we are required to use this range by data validation. Let's say we can get data validation. Go to the data tab, data tools section, data tools group. There is a section called as data validation. Now normally when we go ahead with list source, we are required to use, let's say this source we are using. Click OK. So यहाँ पर आपका whatever names or student names you have, it will be reflected. Now sometimes what happens is new name is added, but the name is not reflected in this range or in this data validation. So for that purpose, we can create a data validation. We can create a dynamic range using names manager. For that purpose, first we are required to use the offset command. Now, what this offset command or offset function will do, it will convert the given range in a dynamic or changeable range. Okay, the attributes in this offset command, we already created this formula. Offset first is reference. It is the start of the range, whatever range you want to select. So this is B4. It is the start of the range from where you want to include the data. Second, rows, and third is columns. This rows and columns refer to, if you want to use that formula or use that range. If it is 0 0, this range will start from B4 only. The dynamic range will start from B4 only. And if we go ahead here with 1 or any other number, for rows it will go down and start from Sandy. If we give it as 3, in that case it will start from Sandy. The range will start from Sandy. Rows and columns is nothing but from the starting point, how far we are required to move to the right or to downwards. So our starting point is this only, and we are required to start the data from this B4 only. So this is kept as 0 0. Then we have used height and width. The next criteria is height and width. So what is the height we are required to give for the dynamic range, and what is the width? We have kept width as 1 because we are required to include 1 column only, and for height we have automated it. So we have told count the numbers in this range. So if it is 5, the height will be 5 rows. If it is, the numbers are 10, the height will be 10, and this is how our range will be defined. Click OK. Now what we will do, we will copy this formula. We already defined this formula. We'll copy this formula. We'll create a name. Go to formula tab, define name. We'll define it as students or any other name you can give. Here press Ctrl V. Is equal to mark should be there. Click OK. All right. Now in this case, again go to data validation. List is already there. Now the source will change it to student. Press F3. We have defined it as students. Click OK. Click OK. Now see, Kedar is there. If I add another name, Kedar1, it will be directly reflected. If we delete this too, the Dropbox will be automatically updated. If I add Pandey or another student, it will be added to the Dropbox. So this is how we can create dynamic range using names. Now where we can use this, you can surely use this with the Vlookup formula. There's a question, what is the max limit for Dropbox? Please, can you explain this again? Yeah, surely I can explain this again. We have used two commands. One is offset and another one is data validation. Okay, what is offset? Offset command will convert a range to the dynamic range. All right, we have also used the names manager. Offset command will convert a range to a dynamic range. So if there are 5 students, the range will refer to 5 students only. If there are 10 students, the range will refer to 10 students only. Okay, then we have used data validation for creating the Dropbox, and we have used names manager. Whatever formula we have defined in offset, we have copied that formula and pasted it to the names manager. So this is how we can create a dynamic range, and if it is added, we can use Vlookup, lookup value this, table array, this is my table array, column index 2 and column index 2, if it is false, 0, the data is not there. So here how you can go ahead with this. Here column index 3. All right, this is here pass. How total marks are changing? How total marks are changing? We have used random between function. What random between functions does is, for every change, the marks changes. We are not pasted it, or paste special is not done. So this is how random between command goes ahead. Offset, you can create dynamic range using offset command, data validation, and names manager. Can you please explain the offset command again? Yes, surely. Offset. Now what offset does it? Offset command converts a range to a dynamic range. Okay, so reference is nothing but the starting point of your data. So we have selected B4, comma. The next attribute is rows. It is asking how many rows the starting point should move downwards. If you want the starting point, the data to start from Sandy, you can give the rows as 3. If you want your data to start from 0 only, or from this cell range only, you should give it as 0. If it happens that we give as 1 row and 1 column, in such case, what Excel will do, it will start the dynamic range from 1 column downwards, 1 row downwards, and 1 column rightward. It will start from 40. If we give it as 1 or 1. If we give it as 3 and 3 or 3 or 2, okay, in that case, what Excel will do, the starting point moves to 3 rows below and 2 columns towards right. Okay, then you are required to define the height. The starting point is already defined. We could keep it as 0 and 0. And you are required to define the height of the range. So here there are 5 students, so I should keep the height as 5 rows and 1 column. Okay, but since the student names keep on adding, we're required to use the count A formula. Count A is nothing but it calculates the count A formula calculates the cells which are not empty. Now see, it has taken as 5. So if we add another student, this range is converted to dynamic range. If we add another student, it will directly be added to this range. And this is how we can convert a range to dynamic range. Okay, some students are people are asking that offset command they are not able to use. Offset command you need to go ahead slightly slow, because for the first time it is not digestible. We have shared this file with you, and I'll always be available over the mail or the mobile number. You can anytime give me a call and ask what is going on. So currently I'm not able to view your screen. So we have explained offset command 2 times. For offset command you need to do a lot of practice for using the offset command. Okay, so let's move ahead. We go to the relative and absolute references. Now let's first understand what is relative and absolute references. One question, what is count A formula? Count A formula calculates the number of non-empty cells. Count A formula calculates the number of non-empty cells. Okay, go to the next trick, relative and absolute references. Now let's first understand what is relative and absolute references. When we refer to this, okay, now see, this is relative reference. This is called as relative reference without the dollar mark, and this is called as absolute reference with the dollar marks. Okay, if we copy this, the relative references changes. The relative reference will change, but the absolute reference will not change. It's a bit fast. Okay, we'll go slow, no problem. Let's understand relative and absolute references. When we refer to this cell address without the dollar mark, in that case it is called as relative references. And when we refer to the same cell range with the dollar marks, it is called as absolute reference. You can switch between the absolute references and relative references by pressing F4. Okay, so this is absolute reference. This is mixed reference. This is called as mixed reference, where column will be relative and row will be absolute. This is another example of mixed reference where column will be absolute and row will be relative. So for example, if I move this, the row will change, but if I move to rightwards, column will not change. Okay, so this is what the difference. This is what is the difference between relative reference and absolute reference. Okay, now if it happens that we define names, we select this table, go to formula tab, create from selection. All right, it will ask whether we should create ranges from top row, names from top row and left column. All right, you click OK, the names will be created. See, Q1 underscore, Q2 underscore, Q3 underscore. Why this underscore is used? Because Q1 refers to another cell address and it is not allowed to create a name which refers to a cell address. Okay, and one question was there, what if the names are not unique? See, this range is already created and currently this range is available in all the sheets or all the worksheets. This range is created in all the worksheet. All right, there are few students which were not able to understand Hindi, so I'll mix it up. I'll explain it in both the languages, not to worry. What if this range is, or the name is not unique? Say for example, the north name is already created, name north is already created, and again in some of the sheets we create north name again. In these cases, what names manager will do is it will give a reference. So say for example, we create this north. Now here the scope will be changed. In this case, since the north name is already created and it is available in the entire workbook, if we again create north name here in this dynamic range sheet, it will be applicable only for the dynamic range sheet. Okay, so how to use relative and absolute references in names manager? Now let's say here we have already created the names. We'll go ahead with this. See, the range name is already there, so we click enter and we copy this. In that case, it will not change as names manager uses absolute references. ये change नहीं होगा क्योंकि absolute references use होता है. In names manager, the names manager will always use absolute references. Now in this case, what we can do, if you want to copy the formula, you go to define names, or sorry, you go to the names manager. This Q1, we can edit this. Okay, here it is using absolute references. You change it by pressing F4 to relative reference. Okay, and you can click OK and close. See, it has already changed. Is equal to sum Q1, and if we copy this, even if the name is Q1, new range will be selected. Reason? Absolute references. We have turned it to relative references. This cell and this. Okay, this is called as absolute reference and this is called as relative reference. If we copy this, relative reference will change, but absolute reference will not change. In this case, if I go ahead with this sum and I convert it to absolute reference, when we copy this, the data will not change. But in case of names manager, if you convert, if you convert the absolute, how to convert relative reference to absolute reference? Okay, if you convert the formula from absolute reference to relative reference, it will definitely refer to a new range. Okay, one question is how to convert the relative reference to absolute reference. This is the relative reference. You press F4, it will be converted to absolute reference. Again, you press F4. This is mixed reference. This is called as mixed reference, where the column is relative, but the row is absolute. Again, press F4. It will again change. It is called as another mixed reference, and column will be absolute and row will be relative. And again, the entire cell address is relative. So this is how you can use relative references and absolute references in case of names manager. Now we again refer to our pending thing, the navigation. How we can use the names manager to navigate between sheets. Now see, we have defined a lot of names. Here are the list of names. So say for example, if I want to move to the first sheet and I'm aware that one of the name defined in the first sheet is pan, so we can directly go to that sheet. This is how you can use names manager to navigate between the sheets. So here we are directly in sheet number 5, and if we go ahead with student, it will it will take us at sheet number 4. So this is how you can use names manager to navigate between sheets. How to edit the defined formula? How to edit the defined formula? Define, you can edit by go to the names manager and click on your defined name and press edit. Then you can edit the formula. Okay, so we move to the next thing. Now this is a short table available with us. It gives us the sales quantity of 4 regions. Now let's say we use Vlookup command, where lookup value is north, table array is this. All right, and we return column number 2, and we use 0 for absolute. All right, so for north, it is showing as 85. We don't know what is Vlookup is. Okay, Vlookup is nothing but Vlookup will look up the value, or you look up the look up this value in the given table. What Vlookup will do? Vlookup will search north in this table and return column number 2 if it finds north. Okay, we'll definitely go ahead with basics of Vlookup in the next sheet. So it will search for north in this column and return the data in the second column. All right, now sometimes what happens is we do not want to show this table or this table array to anyone, but we want to use this in a table or in a formula. In this case, what you can do is you can store this table in names manager and use it again without showing this table to any of the Can you please explain the dynamic range using names? Mr. Prajapati will surely come back to that again. I'm sure a lot of people are finding it difficult to go ahead with the offset command. After this and one or two tricks about Vlookup, we'll surely come back again to the dynamic range. Okay, so in this case, we can store this table, the given table, in memory of names manager. Now, how to do that? You go to the formula tab, go to names manager, click on new. Let's say we give the name as table. We delete this. All right, and you start with the curly brackets. Okay, type north. My mistake. It should be text should always be in double inverted comma. Give a comma and 85. Give a semicolon. Now, when you give comma, it refers to a column. So in this table, there are two columns. One cell refers to the north and one cell refers to 85. Again, east, double inverted comma, give a comma, type the amount, west, give comma, press 76, semicolon, south, comma, 87, and close the curly bracket. Click OK. So we have defined a table, or we have stored the table in memory. Okay, close. We again use the Vlookup formula. Look up what? North. But now we will not refer to this table. What we'll do, we have defined our own table and stored it in memory. Now see, again 85. Now what happens if this is deleted? Not applicable will be not available. Vlookup will return not available, but this range is not changing. What if it's a big table? In that case, what if there are large data? What is 2,0? Okay, what if there is a large table? Then I'll not be advising to use this store table in memory function or store table in memory command, because you are required to type all the data in that table. What's the use of semicolon? Semicolon is used to define rows. So if you put semicolon, it will refer to another row. What if the table contents are more? If table contents are large, it is not advisable to use this, because you are required to type all the table contents. Does it increase the size of the file? Whatever formula you're using, it will always increase the size of the file, but in no case it will exceed 1 MB. No, it won't affect your file size to a great extent. Surely we'll go ahead with the Vlookup. All right, so we go to the Vlookup basics. Now here is the syntax for using Vlookup. Vlookup, where to use Vlookup? Vlookup, semicolon is for continuation. No, it's not for continuation. Semicolon is for starting the new row, and comma is for starting a new column. Okay, all right, we go ahead with our next thing, and we'll surely take up your questions at the end. We complete the Vlookup basics because tomorrow's lecture will be based on Vlookup and if function only. All right, we complete the basics first. Now, talking about Vlookup. So what Vlookup does is it searches the given specified value in a table, and obviously from the first column only. It searches the value and gives you the required data from the remaining column. So say for example, in this case, you are required to search for 10x in this table, and you want the sales output for 10x here. In this case, you can use Vlookup function. Okay, how to use? These are the attributes. First attribute is lookup value. Lookup value is क्या ढूंढना है? Value to be found. You need to search 10x in this table. Press comma. Second attribute is table array, where to find the required info. Now see, the care which you need to take is for using Vlookup, the care which you need to take is whatever the search value or the value you are required to find should be in first column. Should be in first column. Otherwise, Vlookup and HLookup will not be able to search your value. Okay. Press comma. Now, if Vlookup finds this value 10x in this table, what is the column number you are required in the output? So my sales figure is in column number 4. Column number 4 of this table array, not the entire sheet. this table array. Column number, we have selected 4 columns and 5 rows. So column number 1, 2, 3 and 4. My sales is in 4th column. So I'll put 4, and it is asking for approximate match and exact match. Now see, if you observe this 4th attribute, is in bracket, square brackets. Whenever any attribute is given in square bracket, that means if you do not give any input for that attribute, your calculations are not affected due to that. So we put 0, that means exact match, or you can put it as false as well. 1, in this case, 0 refers to exact match and 1 refers to approximate match. Close. So Excel has returned 4620 as the sales, right? If I change it to box, it will give us 16,000. Product box sales is 16,000. One question is there, what if VLOOKUP matter? What if VLOOKUP matter is in last column? If it is in last column, you cannot use VLOOKUP. For that purpose, you need to use index and match command. We'll cover that in tomorrow's lecture. Currently, we go ahead with the VLOOKUP. What is exact match and what is approximate match? We're going to cover both the sections or both the attributes. So kindly wait. Few people are asking about what is approximate match. Square bracket in formula means square bracket. The attribute is optional. If you do not give any input data for that attribute, it won't affect your formula. Wherever there is a square bracket, you can, the attribute is optional. Okay, let's move ahead. So this is how exact match is there, right? Okay, now we see approximate match. This is the, let's understand what is the table is. Sales, if it is from 0, if the sales is 0, commission is 0%, 0 to 999. Details are given in this column. And if the sales is from range 40,000 to 49,999, commission percentage will be 3%. There is one request, data validation, show once please. We will definitely go to data validation and VLOOKUP, and there are a lot of things for VLOOKUP we are going to cover in tomorrow's lecture. Today it will be basic VLOOKUP only, and then then after that we'll cover a few questions. Okay, now we go ahead with the approximate match. Let's say this is my table, and if there is an agent called as John who have achieved the sales target of 35,000. So the commission which he is going to get is 2.25%. This we can see from this range. But in case of VLOOKUP, VLOOKUP cannot search this 35,000 in this range. It will return not available. चलिए देखते हैं. Search for 35,000 in this table array. 2 columns and 8 rows we have selected. Column index number 2, and if we give 0 or false here, In that case, it will return us not available because it will search 35,000 in this first column and 35,000 is not available in this third column. In that case, we're required to use approximate match. See, this will give us 2.25%. And we can calculate the commission. This is how we can use approximate match to search value between given range, to search the value from given range. There is one question, whether approximate match function will work on text data for ABC Private Limited and other data is ABD Private Limited. It may not work on the text data. Tomorrow we'll surely be covering Vlookup with wildcards, where we can use this Vlookup with data validation, with Excel tables, and a lot more will be covered tomorrow. All right, so these are the basics for Vlookup. Now, Parag sir, I think is there any possibility to get the wrong data? No, there is not possibility to get any wrong data. Excel Vlookup functions or any function in Excel works on the principle garbage in, garbage out. If your data is or input is not correct, then in that case the output will also be not correct. Will we be provided with the data dump for practice? Yes, surely. You can download the Excel file from the handouts section. The Excel file is available in handouts section. Are there any chances it might select 3% commission for 35,000 sales? No, there are no chances because it will cover the range 35 to 39,999. Please share the Excel sheet with your working so that we can review it. Surely this working sheet, whatever formulas we have created, will surely be available with you all, available to you all. If name is defined and used in any formula, then if the name is deleted, what happens to the formula in which such name was used? Your formula will be invalidated, or there will be a reference or value error if you delete any name. If the data is in caps off and we're finding the same data, yes, you can get the data. Kindly take now data validation and offset again. Okay, one more time, we'll go with the dynamic range. Okay. Now let's first understand what is data validation. Okay, data validation, go to data tab, data tools, data validation. Data validation is nothing but whatever data you want to allow in a cell or a range. So if you want to allow a whole number between 1 maximum 100, click OK, Now we have entered data validation. If you enter 99, it will allow us. If you enter 100, it will allow us. If it is 101, it will show an error. This is how you can use data validation. That means if you don't want your user or the Excel not to refer to any other data and refer to the only set which you have already defined, or refer to the data which you have already defined. If you give it as 1, it will take. If you give it as 0, it will show an error, because we have defined the data, what is the input to be given for this cell. This is how data validation works. Now, in case of data validation, you can give whole number, you can give decimal, you can restrict it to a list, particular list, so that Excel should select the data from the given list only. You can restrict the cell to a date, time, text length, or custom. Here we have used list. So let's say the list is this. Okay. In that case, list will be available, and Excel will not let you type anything else. If I type Kedar 2, or if I type Sandy 1, it won't let us enter that data. So this is how data validation works. Now, talking about offset function. Sometimes what happens is we use data validation, but names or the input data keeps on changing. So if these 3 students data is being deleted, in that case, see, not applicable is there, and this list already changed because we have used offset function. Because we have used offset function. Now what is offset function is, offset function will convert your existing data to a range. Okay, to a range. Let's say offset reference, first attribute is reference, that is the starting point of your data. The second attribute is rows, and third attribute is columns. From the starting data, if you want Excel to refer any other data, like if you want it to refer or start the data from 78, one way of doing is you can directly start with 78, or you can ask Excel to move one column to the right and 2 rows downwards. So it will start from 78. So we have taken it as 0, and height. So let's say height is 4 students and width is 1 column, 4 rows and 1 column. But in this case, what happens is, if we define it as 4, then in that case, offset function will not take any other data apart from these 4 rows. So to automate that, we have used count A formula. Now what is count A formula? Count A formula counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. Okay, count A. I have given this range. You can give any range. Let's say we give 30 rows. So what Excel will do, it will count the numbers available or non-empty cell from the given range. Currently it is 4. So see, it will be converted. There's a new function or new functionality available in Excel which spills the data. Now if I add something here, let's say I add Kedar. So this Kedar will be directly added to this range. If I add Kedar 1 again, it will be added to this. Okay, we have copied this formula. You need to press F4, and we have copied this formula, and we have defined a name. Go to Formula tab, define name. Let's say student list, and it refers to this formula. Click OK. Come to this cell, go to the data tab, data validation, list, and instead of students, press F3. You will get all the names defined by you, and it refers to the newly defined student list. Click OK. See, all the names are added. If you add another name as Sandy1, Sandy1 is also added to the data. This is how you can convert or go ahead with a dynamic range. There are a lot of questions. I cannot cover everything. One question is there, can we use Vlookup function instead of offset? We can definitely use Vlookup function, but it will refer to only one cell, and it will definitely not convert the range or convert the data to a range. What if width is taken as 2 or 3 or so on? If width is taken as 2 or 3 or so on, then in that case what offset will do, it will convert. If you take width as 2, so it will convert these two columns in a dynamic range. So in the drop down box you will see student's name as well and the marks as well. In offset function, while giving count formula, if it between cells are blank, will the offset function work correctly? Won't it miss the student data? No, because count A formula, whatever we're doing, count A formula, it will count the data, non-blank cell. If it happens that a range or a cell is blank, that care you need to take, that you should not keep any cell blank. It will surely miss the data. How to find out the error in formula we have entered? We'll come to this. There is a function called as, there is a feature available called as evaluate formula. We'll surely come to this. So you can find the errors in those formulas. Please explain approx match in Vlookup. Okay, one more time, approx match in Vlookup. Approximate match in case of Vlookup will see the range and it won't see the exact match or exact numbers. So we have searched 35,000. 35,000 is not available in the first column, but it will select 2.25 as the higher range is 40,000. So it refers to this cell, approximate match. It searches this 35,000. It assumes that 35,000 is nearest to this range. We have selected, we have given this range names because the higher list or the next amount is 40,000. So Excel will not go to 40,000 as range is changing. It will search the data and it will return 2.25. 25 by approximately matching the number. Please recommend good books or reference material or website. What you can do is we have our own channel called as Tutorico. You can subscribe. Currently in lockdown, on a daily basis, I'm putting one video where for the Excel commands. Some may be useful to you, some may not. You can subscribe to the channel. Can you explain what is wildcard? Is it a formula name? And what is the purpose to use? Please cite some example. Okay, wildcards. These are the two wildcards we normally use. It does not refer to any formula. Sometimes what happens is, in case of Vlookup or SUMIF or any formula we use, we do not have the entire or exact data available with us. So let's say this, we're required to search Larry in this range, but we do not have the entire correct data with us. So we are required to search, we are required to count the students whose name is Larry. In that case, we go ahead with COUNTIF formula. Range we have given this student name. All right, just a moment. Okay, COUNTIF formula, student criteria. Now see, Larry will not be available. If we directly search Larry, it will show us as 0. It won't be available because the criteria which we have given is search for Larry, and the single word is not available. We have roll number, then the first name, and then last name. Had it been only Larry here, it would have given us count as 1, or had it been 2 Larry, then in that case it would have given us count as 2. But the data is not available. In that case, you can use wildcards. So asterisk mark we have used as wildcard, ampersand, again double inverted ampersand, put ampersand, double inverted comma, asterisk mark. So now what this formula will do is, it will ignore the roll number, and this asterisk, suffix asterisk, will ignore the last name, and it will search only for Larry. So we have 74 students with the name Larry. Now there was one question, why the data is changing. Okay, we have used this formula, random between. What random between does is, for every change in your any cell or every activity, the random number changes. That is why the data is changing. We have used combination of 3 random betweens. Random between, then it is choose formula, again random between, and again choose random between formula. All right, so this is how it is showing me as a slow network. Turn off your webcam. I'll turn off the webcam. Okay, so this is how the data is changing. My offset formula, Miss Roma Patel is showing asking my offset formula does not fill all the cells with values. Okay, this functionality of filling all the cells is called as spill of data. Okay, and this is available only in Office 365 and Office 2019. If you are using any earlier version like Office 2013, Office 2010, this spill formula is not available. In this case, the formula will be available, or if you're using any old version, this is how your data will look like. Or your offset function will look like. But don't worry, it is fine. One question: what if Larry is surname? If Larry is his surname, not required to. Mr. Pratik is asking if Larry is his surname. If Larry is his surname, you're not required to use the suffix asterisk mark. In our case, the data, Larry is not in name. We can surely use that. Let's say I'll change the formula. I'll change this data. With that. Now that is in surname.
हेलो
हेलो,
हेलो।
आवाज आ रहा क्या?
हाँ सर, आपका ये स्क्रीन फ्रीज हो गया है, एक बार वो करके करो ना स्क्रीन को।
है?
केदार सर,
वो वॉइस नहीं आ रही है इनका। चिराग भाई, हेलो। आई थिंक हैंग हो गया बस।
बोला है सर, उनको कर रहे हैं 1 मिनट।
ओके ओके।
केदार जी, हेलो।
हाँ सर। हाँ
हेलो,
भावना जी, आ रहे हैं,
मुझे
अभी
केदार,
स्पीकर आ रहे हैं। प्लीज वेट फॉर 5 minutes, ऑल द अटेंडेंट्स प्लीज।
ओके ओके।
your voice is not coming. Kedar ji, your voice is not coming. Hello,
हाँ
हेलो।
सर, आ रहा है आपका आवाज।
नहीं आ रहा है, कहाँ आ रहा है?
हाँ केदार, क्या
हेलो विराग,
आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है?
नहीं आ रहा है, नहीं आ रहा है उनका आवाज। ऑडियो ऑफ है आपका? अभी भी नहीं आ रहा है?
अभी आ रहा है आवाज?
नहीं आ रहा है। हेलो।
अभिषेक तुम्हारा आवाज मुझे आ रहा है।
हाँ हाँ, आपका आ रहा है। अरे सर, मैं केदार की बात कर रहा हूँ। केदार,
हाँ
Am I audible?
हेलो।
Hello? Am I
Yeah,
audible,
Kedar
sir?
ji. Yes. Now you can. Can you repeat whatever you said in last 5 to 10 minutes? Can you repeat, please?
Okay, 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, we're referring to
Yeah.
the uh, VLOOKUP formula. Kedar sir is audible now. Thank you. Okay, we're referring to the VLOOKUP formula. There was a question that whether if it is 36,000 or 37,000, will it consider 40,000? No, it won't consider 40,000. Because when we use approximate match, it converts the range to this 30,000 to 39,000. Had it been 38,000, then in that case, it will convert this range to 37,999, and then it will search the data. There is a system called as lower limit and upper limit. Excel defines the upper limit considering the next cell. Okay. Okay, there was one question why we are using 2 in VLOOKUP formula. In VLOOKUP formula, this 2 refers to the column number for which we want an output. Okay, since we are required to go ahead with the commission here, we have given column number 2. अगर हम लोगों को यहाँ पर details चाहिए, in that case, we can select the table. All right, it is C26, or we can say D26, and we can return column number 3. So column number, it is column number 2 or 3, whatever data we want to return. All right. But I would request everyone to note this mail ID. Whatever the questions you have, you can mail it to this mail ID. Even for tomorrow's session, we're going to cover VLOOKUP. Now see, in this case, we're going to cover VLOOKUP basics. We have already covered. We'll cover data validation with VLOOKUP, Excel tables with VLOOKUP, wildcard, multiple table VLOOKUP. Like if we refer to, currently we are using only one table. Okay, we can use 3 or 4 tables and extract the required data. We'll go ahead with nested VLOOKUP or double VLOOKUP. We'll use match function. We'll use reverse. We'll go ahead with reverse lookup because VLOOKUP searches only right words. Data आपका first column में ही रहना चाहिए. तो reverse lookup कैसे किया जाए? Zeros अगर डेटा नहीं है आपका, जीरो आ जाता है, उसको एलिमिनेट कैसे किया जाए, इफ एरर कैसे यूज किया जाए. एंड दिस इज अ न्यू फंक्शन अवेलेबल इन एक्सेल 365 and Excel 2019. Earlier version XLOOKUP is not available. We'll also throw some light on this XLOOKUP. Also, we will cover if function with some tricks. And the third day, we will be covering advanced filter with macros and flash feed. So this is how the next 2 days session will be. Virag ji, Abhishek ji, over to you.
Hello.
Virag ji,
Hello.
over to you. Abhishek, over to you.
Yeah. Are you getting my voice?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can cover a few questions if you have 5 to 10 minutes. So because we have started 5 to 10 minutes, that we can cover 5 to 10 questions. So
Okay,
please
no problem.
open the. Huh.
Thank you, sir. Please share this video. We can revise and practice. Surely this video is getting recorded. You will be getting the link. Fantastic presentation with immense potential. Thank you. I hope macros will be covered on third day. Yes, macros will be covered on third day along with advanced filter. Pivot table going to be included in the session. No, we have not included pivot table, but surely pivot table itself is a very big thing. So if required pivot table, we can have a separate session for pivot tables. Hi Kedar, can we have your phone number? It is 7588661199. Thank you, sir. When we get the recording, you'll surely get the recordings. Not able to see the mail ID. The mail ID is typed here. So I'll request everyone, when you ask any query or when you send any query, if possible, you should also send the data along with it so that we can work on that. Please provide email ID of Kedar sir again, not able to see. This is my mail ID, kedarpande@gmail.com. Would you be covering mel merge functionality? No, mel merge, for that purpose we may design something, some other sessions. Recording for practice, yes. Will we cover Vlookup? Yes, we can cover Vlookup also. Can you also write your YouTube name, YouTube channel name? It is Tutorico by CA
That we will share with all.
Kedar Pandey. YouTube channel name. Pratik, you have asked me something. I was answering your query. Can you repeat it, Pratik Khillari?